Hey folks, welcome to Set Apart Homestead. This is Travis here at the Prepared Homestead. Sorry, forgot my tripod, so it's just all shaky hands this time. So that little walk that you saw, that's one of the little trails around here. As you can see, that goes down to where the two springs, or the two creeks, spring-fed creeks, intersect. The smaller one, the head of that spring is just from the point that you saw in the video, 250, 300 foot up is the head of that spring. And then the other bigger creek, the head of that spring is just off of our property onto a neighbor's property, but it's not more than maybe 500-600 feet from that point that you saw it. So, and both are excellent sources, very clean. You know, you'd probably still want to maybe run it through a filter or boil it if you really need to, but I've drank out of them already a little bit, and I turned out okay. But anyways, so first off, I'd mentioned in another video about talking about this land that we're on, and I haven't really decided how I want to talk about it, but I guess I'll talk, just kind of let it happen. This is new property for us. We have been looking, I'm trying to get in a good spot that the sun doesn't wipe the camera out. It's so bright out today. It's beautiful and hot, and been working in the garden all sweaty. Anyways, we've been looking for land for a while, a different place. We wanted a little bit more fertile land. We wanted a place that had some live water on it. Something that had a little bit more flatness to it. That is one of the drawbacks in some of the places you get in the Ozarks. It's a very hilly country, and sometimes a lot of the acreage, it's just mostly hills and rocks. And I mean, that wasn't all of the land, but it was a lot. So we were just looking for something better, and we found this place and just latched on it. We believe the Father led us here. By how it worked out, it was actually pretty amazing how we found it and was able to buy it, and it happened so quickly and so easily. So we've been working on developing it. It's got you know, to make it more homestead. The people that had it and lived here before, well, they didn't live here full time. That has a barn and a cabin, but they mostly just used it as a getaway place. And so we're developing it into a more full-time, obviously, homestead. So we're working on gardens and just doing some things to get it to where it's more of a full-time homestead and not just a little vacation spot. But we are pretty far out from most civilization. You know, there's a little town about 15 miles away, about 2,000 people in it or so, and that's the closest town to us. So we're pretty far out, pretty secluded. Already met most of the neighbors, and they're really good. And as you can tell, the land, in other videos, the soil is amazingly fertile, and has the live water running on the property. And from everyone I've talked to, and I talked to an older couple that's lived here all their life, and they said they've never known either of those creeks to dry up. So that's good. It's a water source, along with the well that's on the property. So anyways, so we're doing a lot of work, and you know, my wife and I have talked that it's like, have we picked the worst time or the best time to do this? So, you know, this whole move and getting the property just kind of worked out that it was also at the same time that the world was falling apart in a pandemic, and then all the other stuff, you know, the apocalypse is happening. And here we are starting over on property. And it's, I mean, in a way, yes, it's starting over, but it's not like it's just bare, you know, open land or anything. You know, there's structures and water and electricity and stuff like that on the property. And we are connected to the grid right now because it was available, but our goal, we're working towards getting it to where we're off. So there's that. But anyway, so it's fun, and it also, you know, it's not like we're going to be going anywhere. Most of the country is in a stay-at-home order, and now here in Missouri has a stay-at-home order. It doesn't seem to be one with a lot of teeth to it, but the governor is asking everyone to do it, and we've pretty much had already several weeks ago decided to just lock ourselves inside anyways, or at least on the property, that we weren't going to be getting out because of it. So this obviously gives us stuff to do, you know, not on top of just your normal homesteading things that keep you very busy in the spring. There's also, you know, a lot of new things that we're doing, building, and so we definitely have plenty to do to keep ourselves occupied and not be running around all over the place catching some disease. And you know, little by little, I'll show you some things here. The property, like I said, it's pretty amazing property. Most of it's very level. One corner of it goes up, but and it has a little hill, but it's not steep at all. And that's the part of the wooded part. And so it's not like a, you know, straight up and down, that kind of thing. It's just a gradual sloping incline in the one corner, but the vast majority of the land is all level, flat, and there's 2 pastures in it, and really good land. We're very excited. I've already done a lot of exploring in the last few weeks, you know, checking out what's growing naturally. There's tons of edible food and medicinals on the property, lots of wildlife. All the neighbors around here, and you can tell just by how it looks, say that the amount of deer and turkey, things like that, it's quite abundant here. So that's all good stuff. You know, I don't want to come across as I'm bragging. It's just kind of giving you guys an update of where we're at and what's going on. We are in the Ozarks still, so there's that. But anyways, so just an update of some of the stuff going on with the apocalypse. I'm gonna walk out in the sun. Hopefully it won't. Yeah, that's not too bad. As you know, many states other than just a few now have declared these executive orders, stay-at-home orders. Some seem to be more strictly enforced than others. I've actually heard of places that are fining or even arresting people that are in violation of the order, and others places you hear law enforcement say, well, you know, we're not really enforcing that. We're not going to go around and do checkpoints and arrest people. If we see lots of people congregating for no reason, you know, we might deal with that. But so it really depends on where you're at. There's a city in my state of Missouri that was in the news, and it's actually a small city, very rural city, that has no cases. And I believe when I read it, they said that there wasn't even any cases in the entire county, and they have enacted a curfew. And they're telling everyone that you will be arrested and put in jail if you violate this curfew. And I find it kind of funny thinking, so the virus is more deadly or more susceptible to transfer and infection at night. So we, you know, put a curfew up. Is that the reason? I don't know. What I know, folks, is or at least what I think I know, is that we are dealing with a real virus. We are dealing with something real that is deadly. You know, some people say it's more and some people say it's less. From the data that I've looked at, it looks to be much worse than like the swine flu, and probably in the end much worse than the seasonal flu. In fact, from some of the stuff I'm looking at, I would almost say that it's probably worse than the Spanish flu, or very possibly on par with that. doesn't mean that in the end the numbers of infected and dead will be worse than the Spanish flu. Because we have, better hygiene, more modern medicine, that sort of thing. I'm walking down here at the creek and try not to fall as I'm doing it. So I don't know that necessarily we're going to see the death toll like we did back 100 years ago with the Spanish flu. But I think it definitely has the potential of being on that level of deadly and dangerous. So, don't take it lightly. I do think also there's a hype to it. I think there's a hype to it. And the reason why I think there's a hype is because governments, more and more, I mean, they've always done this, but more and more nowadays, they don't want to let a good disaster go to waste, They see this disaster, they see this as a potential for them to expand their power. That they see this as an opportunity for them, And whether it's planned or it was just something that happened and they decided to take advantage of it, I think we are dealing with a very changing situation in with our government and other governments. I think that when this is all said and done, life as we once knew it will no longer exist. Even, I believe it was Dr. Fauci from the White House was saying that what we consider normal here in America will probably never happen again. We'll never see that again. And I think in a lot of ways, these guys like him are kind of sending that message, letting us know that normal will never happen again here in America. Now, how bad will it get? I don't know. I think it's going to get pretty bad. And I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about what happens because of the virus. I think that's going to get bad. I think the amount of control due to health reasons and community health and spread and disease is going to get kind of crazy. And yeah, there's a neighbor's farm back there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Runs some cattle behind me. I'm right on my property line. This creek runs the property line. This side is my property. That side is his cattle farm. And he's a good guy. So, what do we take from all this? Be prepared to do for yourself. Because I think, in the end, those that need help from the government, whether it's food or whatever, any kind of government help, it's going to come at a cost. And those that are able to kind of do for their own and live out in the woods might have a better chance of just kind of being left alone. Now, in the long run, will that be true? Maybe not. They may decide to come out here into the countryside too and tell us that we have to bow and kiss the ring of the government and turn in our weapons and give up our homeschooling rights and stop growing food and take their handouts and, take their microchips and all that kind of stuff. But I think in the end that I still believe that the chances of our survival as a free people are definitely going to be increased by living out like this. I think they're less interested in the smaller population that lives like this as opposed to the ones that live in the big cities. So that's why I've always pushed to live like this, to live out like this, because of that. I know a lot of people say, well, maybe you should take a stand and fight back. I'm certainly not opposed to that. I just don't think that right now is the time, only because there's just not enough people willing to do that. You can't take on this kind of system with just a few people. Not anymore. It's different. It's different. They have the technology. They're much more organized. The globe is much more together, and for 60, 70 years about They have been pushing this one world government, Agenda 21, now Agenda 2030. This has been their goal. Illuminati, all that kind of stuff. I know, I'm getting off into a rabbit hole, but I'm okay with that. It's just YouTube and other people that listen in don't like it. I feel like I'm rambling today, but I just really think that now more than ever, you need to start doing for yourself, everything you can to become less dependent. And maybe you don't live out like this and you're not able to. There's always the chance of meeting someone and working with them, of sharing the property or something like that. That's certainly a possibility. It happens. You got to be a little bit more careful of that kind of stuff, of what you're getting into. But the possibilities of that kind of stuff happening still exist. So don't lose hope if you feel that you can't get out of the big city, but you really want to. But in the end, like I said, keep being prepared. Get your life, your heart prepared, your soul prepared. Get your Bibles out. Get on your knees and pray more. Because the world is vastly changing. And I think a lot of the stuff that's talked about in the end of that book are getting closer and closer to happening, and many of them have already happened. All right, I'll get off my soapbox and from behind the pulpit. You folks have a good day. I got to get back to work. I think I may dunk my head in this to cool off, and then probably get back to the garden. I'll catch y'all later in the next video. Have a great day.